cabin crew take your seats for takeoff.
When you first land in a foreign country away from your home, watch out for the fast-moving world while others are making it. Some have lost themselves or even lost their way. Now, this is a narrative based on a true story from Okoyo, not his real name, but one of a former colleague I worked with in a past establishment. Now, wherever you are watching us from, welcome to LTS episode number 15, and we continue to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can click the red button, very simple, like our videos, comment, and share your feedback. Today's episode is rather hilarious, but it has a sad ending. Why? Because Okoyo is a person that I know very, very well, and for lack of better words, his experience is a reflection of what so many new job seekers or fast joiners abroad fall into, either consciously or unconsciously. Now, it was Okoyo's first opportunity out of his home country where he was born, bred, and raised. Now, Okoyo was only used to this kind of an environment. A morning rooster, the sound of the beautiful livestock in the morning. You know, the beautiful rising sun at the horizon of the African terrain, the sound of domesticated animals and the fresh morning dew on the grass, and also the smell of the lakeside breeze. This is the normal, ordinary life that Okoyo was used to. Now, Okoyo only traveled to his city counted times, and this was in the company of an adult. The first time he started traveling alone was when he joined a boarding school during his high school years. Now, Okoyo, having been exposed to the hustles and bustles of the city, went through his college years just like any other person and completed as an average student. Now, of course, the one thing that everybody looks forward to after completing college or university is to get a job or to start a job. Now, Okoyo was very lucky because he started working at a local farm in his country, a job he did for about 1 year. Then one day, when Okoyo had just finished his normal daily duties, while he was traveling back to his house, in the city, he happened to spot a group of many job seekers. They normally gather around some common advertising boards somewhere in the CBD in Nairobi, to be particular. And he happened to get to see an advertisement that was calling in for job seekers to attend a walk-in interview. Now, this was courtesy of a contracted agency that was looking for hospitality job roles to be filled in Dubai. Now, Okoyo joined the group of job seekers and he took the details for the walk-in interview, which was to be held in a certain city hotel along Mombasa Road. Now, Okoyo, having no previous background experience in hospitality, he decided to attempt the role of a lifeguard. And he was a little bit very certain that he would get this job because he grew up on the lakeside city Okay, and swimming was a way of life for them, if not to mention a daily routine, either as a hobby or when they were going for fishing. Now, surprisingly, his communication was second to none, and according to the people from the lakeside, to them, they don't communicate. They engage in a conversation. No, this is how the lakeside community put it. Now, fast forward, Okoye went in for the walk-in interview, and it was very well known back then that people from the lakeside, they normally say presentation is everything. Now, while many job seekers walked into this open interview, very formal in white collar shirts and ties and suits, Okoye decided to do the opposite. Because he wanted the role of a lifeguard, Okoye came in fully dressed in a lifeguard's gear. In fact, he even had the sailor's floater with him ready for duty. Now, as many as the job seekers happened to see him as a joker, that's how Okoye found his first job as a lifeguard in a prestigious beach hotel in Dubai. He was recruited and he was hired. Now, since this was the first time to board a plane and land in a foreign country, there was a farewell party by the villagers, and they wished their son all the best as he started working abroad. This is where the story changes.
Cabin crew, take your seats for takeoff.
Okoye landed in Dubai International Airport, one of the largest and most equipped airports in the world, with uncountable terminals, with international flights landing and taking off after every other minute. Now, after several hours of navigating himself through the airport, he met the airport rep who took him, and he was now in the company of driver who had been commissioned to go and pick him at the airport. Now, the travel from the airport to the company housing took him about 40 minutes drive. Now, Okoye's world started spinning around after what he was seeing the moment he landed at the airport. Traveling to his new housing, he could see 6 to 7 highway lanes with hundreds of cars, different models and different types, cruising at crazy speed, and yet the traffic was flawless throughout the night. At the change of the active traffic light signals, all the cars will come to a halt as if everything was just magically treated. Now, Okoye landed in his company housing, and he couldn't stop believe the new world that he had just landed himself in. Now, when he stepped out of the van that had brought him to the company housing, Okoye could not stop getting amused because he saw that he had been dropped by a Mercedes-Benz model sedan, which according to Okoye, this was a preserve of only selected few in his home country, not to mention people from the government who would only use these machines on government function. Okoye's spirit was so elated, and he knew he had landed himself the best deal in life. His roommate was also a lifeguard by the name of Ibrahim, okay, who was from Russia. Now, Okoyo, with his lakeside English, this time round, it wouldn't work. They had to find a common way of communicating. That's how Okoyo landed and started his first day as a lifeguard in a foreign country. Now, he settled in very, very well. And in fact, Okoyo was not struggling in the first days and in the first months because swimming was his way of life. So he was taken in through the orientation on how it's done professionally. Now, Okoyo could not stop getting amused by the fast pace of literally everything in this new world. Now, surprisingly so, he got very good returns on a monthly salary that he used to get. And of course, he enjoyed the tips that comes in once in a while when he engages with the guests. Now, Okoyo, having started to earn money which was not available when he was in his home country, he started doing what so many people fall victim to. One, every new gadget from mobile phones to smartwatch to high-grade laptop, MacBook Pro, branded designer wear, high-labeled shoes, you name it, he will grab them. And his apartment could have been mistaken for a small wear shop, which is okay. There's no problem. But in fact, his social status in the media, after 6 months, he had increased his followers in hundreds of numbers. And Okoyo will not let any amusing opportunity pass him by. Surprisingly, here in this part of the world, you'll find models like Ferrari, Lamborghini, Jaguar, Maserati, the Hummer, Tesla, Bugatti, you name it. These cars are very, very much available on the streets, and it's a common sight. Now, Okoyo will seize any moment when he spotted any of these vehicles and take a selfie and even ask passers-by to take a photo. And of course, he will post this on his social media platforms. And interestingly enough, he started parading himself on a status which was not actually true. Even interesting, the property that Okoyo was working was privileged to host not once but uncounted times many international celebrities and superstars, from footballers to golf stars, musicians to Hollywood actors, you name it, from boxers. The list is endless. And any moment Okoyo will have an opportunity to take a photo with these people, he will do anything and make sure he gets a selfie or a photo with all these superstars and post immediately on his social media handles. Back at home, Okoyo had created an image and a perception that he had landed in the land that flows with milk and honey. Now, due to this, Okoyo made a strong, long list of friends in his social media platform, of people back home, those that he knew and those that he never knew. Of course, due to his people-friendly nature, Okoyo grew gradually in his role, and he eventually landed as a lifeguard team leader. Of course, he upgraded his lifestyle very quickly, and because he was given the entitlement of staying in a studio, Okoyo made sure that he is equal to the others and all the good things that life could offer, he placed his hands on. This is where he started make expensive mistakes. He took a huge loan, a huge loan. He went in for a driving test for the first time and failed. He was lucky the second time he did the driving test, he got the license. Now, Okoyo was tired of using the free company provided transport. One day he walks into a showroom and they said, "I want that one." If he was at home, I guess he would have said this, and I want to put it in a very humorous way. I guess he would have just said, "Nifungie hiyo." He bought his first sport utility vehicle. Now, to keep up with his newly acquired status, his studio apartment, which he had been issued by the company, was always very busy every weekend. It was party after party after party after party. Now, after a short period, Okoyo eloped and he married a beautiful Asian lady. And for 4 years, Okoyo never went back home. Okoyo lost contact with his own people. And in fact, even the annual vacation that he is entitled with, provided for him by the company, he decided never to use them. Now, on the 5th year, Okoyo decided to go back home for a vacation. Now, this was not because he wanted to. This was as a result of the pressure that he got from his own fellow countrymen here in this foreign land. Why? Because every vacation, which he was entitled, 30 days per year, he used to utilize them here, doing a lot of nothing and not going back home. So Okoyo decides to go home on vacation, and to make sure that he meets the expectation of the so many people he had attracted on the social media with the so affluent lifestyle that he used to post, he decided to go to the extent of buying in a lot of gifts and souvenirs, and he shipped them home in advance so that when he lands back at home, he will be loaded with goodies and gifts for all the very many people who were his great followers. Since he never wanted to disappoint, this is what Okoyo did. Immediately he landed at the international airport. He made sure that he has a pocket of 50 shillings notes with him, and he made sure that he stashed all these 50 shilling notes so that any person whom he knew, he would, of course, reach out and say, "This is for you, have tea." In fact, directly translating, he would say, "Kunyo chai." That is Okoyo. Now, of course, a few notes to his village buddies once in a while he was meeting them as he was traveling back home to his home village. Now, what is even more interesting about Okoyo, he had booked a 45 days vacation. But this is what happened. Once Okoyo landed at home in the village, he started saying things that he was used to. He grew around them. But now they were a nuisance and they were a bother. Okoyo started complaining of the frequent blackout, saying there is no light. Okoyo started complaining that there is no Wi-Fi. There is no internet connectivity in the village. Now, friends, watch out for the next episode of Okoyo, which we shall be sharing with you on episode number 16. get to know what really happened to Okoyo and the great lessons that we can be able to pick up from this experience, you will get to understand what happened to Okoyo, where he is right now, and the tips on what you need to do when you land in a foreign country for the first time.